We need to begin by creating a schematic. Choose File, New, and then Schematic. This will be our canvas for our design. For this demonstration, we are going to make a converter that transforms Celsius into Fahrenheit. We will use the Matrikon OPC server for simulation as our OPC server for both our input and output. We will read in a value from Bucket Brigade Real 4 as our Celsius input, convert the value, and output to Bucket Brigade Real 8 as our Fahrenheit output. The next step is to add the blocks that we need. Choose the Blocks menu to see all of the categories available. Each one has several function blocks available under the next level. We will begin by choosing OPC Read and OPC Write from the OPC DA Client Blocks menu. Click to select each one and then drop them on the schematic. From the Blocks menu, choose Linear and then Unit Conversion, and click to drop it onto the schematic. Mouse over the OPC Read block value pin until a large cross appears. With your left mouse button, click on the value pin, ensuring that you release the mouse button, then move your mouse to the Unit Conversion block and hover over the input pin. Notice that the smaller cross gets bigger when you are in the right place. Left click and release to make the connection. Do the same between the output of the Unit Conversion block and the value pin of the OPC Write block. Notice that the OPC Write block has an Enable pin. We need to ensure this pin is energized for the block to work. Go back to the block menu and choose Inputs and then On/Off and drop it on the schematic. Left click on the On/Off pin, extend the line, click again, extend up, click once more, and finally extend to the Enable pin, remembering to ensure that the cross goes from small to big before your final click. We now have all the components we need connected. We will be proceeding to configure each component, starting with the OPC Read block. Double-click on the Read block to display the properties. There is a browse function included here, however it can take a while depending on your computer setup to build a list of program IDs. We'll manually enter the information for this exercise. Click in the node field and enter localhost. Then click in the program ID field and enter matrikon.opc.simulation.1. Next click in the item ID field and enter bucket space brigade dot real 4 and then click OK. It's important that you observe the proper title case in the item ID field. Now open the UC block. For the conversion type, change this to temperature, and then, using the arrows up the top, expose the temperature tab. Set the temperature from to C and set the temperature to F, and click OK. Open the properties for the On/Off block. Select the Mode tab. Set the initial state to 1, and then click OK. Now open the OPC Write block. Click in the node field once again and type localhost. Then click in the prog ID field and type matrikon.opc.simulation.1. And finally, in the item ID field, bucket space brigade dot real 8. Change the write type from every execution to on value change, and then click OK. We can now save the schematic by choosing File, Save, and give it a name, and click Save. Congratulations, you have successfully configured your first schematic. We now need to download the schematic to the engine so we can use it. Choose the schematic menu, then choose Download Schematic and choose a free slot. I'll choose slot 0. Validation takes place. Any errors will be shown at this point. If no errors are seen, this means your download was successful. You can also check the status window for any errors that may occur. Let's take a look at the values at each stage of the schematic. Right-click on any line and choose Display Values, All. The current values are displayed, and these values will update dynamically. We will now open the test OPC client, in this case Matrikon OPC Explorer. Choose the Start menu, All Programs, Matrikon OPC, Explorer, and finally Matrikon OPC Explorer. Double-click on Matrikon OPC Simulation to connect. Then choose the Add Tags button. Expand the Simulation Items tree, and then the Bucket Brigade tree. In the Available Tags area, scroll down to expose Reel 4 and Reel 8, and double-click on each of these to put them in the Tags to be Added area. Then click on OK. And you can see the Matrikon Condition Manager has already sprung into action. With our input value of 0, our output value of 32 is displayed, which is the Fahrenheit equivalent of 0 degrees Celsius. Let's change the value of the Celsius input. Right-click on Bucket Brigade Reel 4 and choose Write Values. Then choose 30 for the new value and hit OK. And we can see that the Matrikon Condition Manager has updated our Fahrenheit output. 30 degrees Celsius input gives us 86 degrees Fahrenheit output. This concludes the demonstration module.